Now, this girl, this bride, she meets the daughters of Jerusalem. And we have here now an antiphony. That means she sings one part, they sing another part. That sounds like an opera, does it not? Now she says, I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, if ye find my beloved, that ye tell him that I'm sick of love. If you find him, tell him how much I miss him, how much I love him, and let him know that I'm looking for him. Now, that is the thought that you have at this particular juncture. Now, the daughters of Jerusalem, they speak and answer her. And very candidly, I would say they're rather skeptical here. She's in love with him, and now the garden has lost its fragrance, and the myrrh and the frankincense don't mean much to her, and the beauty of the flowers have withered. May I say to you that she misses him, and they are a little skeptical. Did you note what they say now? What is thy beloved more than another beloved? Who is this Jesus anyway? What makes you think Jesus is different from anyone else? There have been other great religious leaders. They're great also. Why do you think that Jesus is different? Why do you think that he is who he claims to be? Believe me, friends, there's a lot of skepticism on the outside today. And the tragedy of the hour is that the church is not answering Jesus Christ Superstar. The church doesn't seem to have an answer for that today. In fact, it's being played in a great many churches, and it's blasphemy because it denies the deity of the Lord Jesus Christ. And it asks the question and then attempts to answer it. What is thy beloved more than another beloved? Well, Jesus is just a man. That's what the play said. He's just a man. May I say to you, there's been a lot of discussion about him, and there's more controversy about him than any person that ever lived. He's the most controversial figure in history. Now, if you don't believe it, let me ask you a question. Would you want to get excited about Julius Caesar today? Suppose someone would say he's a rascal. Would you want to argue it? I don't know about you. I wouldn't. I'd let them, if they want to think that, fine. He probably was. But suppose somebody thinks that he's a saint. You even want to argue that? I wouldn't argue that. He could have been a saint. I don't think so. But nevertheless, it's no reason to argue, is it? But the minute you mention Jesus Christ, I tell you, the human family chooses upside. It's interesting. God made it that way. God wouldn't even let Pilate off easy. Pilate called for a basin of water, washed his hands. He said, I won't have anything to do with him. He just thought that because the oldest creed in the church for 1900 years has been saying, crucified under Pontius Pilate. Pontius Pilate, you didn't wash your hands. You made a decision. He forced you to make a decision, though you thought he was the prisoner and you were the judge. But he was the judge and you were the prisoner. And today, every man has to make a decision. What is thy beloved more than another beloved? O thou fairest among women, what is thy beloved more than another beloved, that thou dost so charge us? Why do you think he's different? In these anthologies of religion today, they have the great religious leaders, they say, the founders of religion, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Gandhi, and Buddha, and all the rest. May I say to you, the early church, according to Tertullian, when the persecution began, he said that the great problem was that the early church would rather die than have Jesus put down on a plain with the heathen deities of the Roman Empire. And they just refused to take a pinch of incense and put it down before the image of a Caesar. They just didn't do it. And why? Because their beloved was different.